Hello, my name is Grenville and welcome to Faery Wood. Faery Wood is here to assist you in the awakening process and to nurture your spiritual growth. We encourage you to question everything. Don't just take my word, you're being encouraged to step into your power and do your own research. The spiritual term for this is discernment, which is a huge subject of itself, which we shall cover in another video. Our next bit of advice is to please be sure that your research and discernment does not come from the TV, because that's part of our problem. The problem also includes Google and the social media too. Choose a search engine like yippee.com or duckduckgo.com. There are certain words and terms that I do my best to avoid because our channel will get taken down, like has happened to so many already who go against the system and adopt the ways of a spiritual warrior. So when I dance around certain buzzwords which trigger the censorship, please be patient and bear with me. Some of you may have already come across some of this censorship on certain posts on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube, where they inaccurately describe themselves as fact checkers. As yet, I fail to see the difference between that and censorship. These so-called fact checkers allegedly happen to be more qualified than the medical doctors who have the courage to speak up about the lies that we're being fed, as well as other specialists in their respective fields of expertise too. That's sarcasm, by the way. Because of the likelihood of this channel being taken down, I shall leave links to our other sites on BitChute, Rumble, Facebook, and of course our website at faerywood.com. So please follow the links and subscribe, or at least add to your favourites folder before we get taken down, so at least you'll know where to find us. With the awakening, we shall endeavour to do our best not to tell you what to think, but instead we aim to show you some of the facts that we have found that goes against the narrative and invite your own curiosity to follow it down the rabbit hole. Some of you already realise that something is going on because it doesn't make any sense to you. That's because most of it doesn't. So we're here to encourage you to trust your intuition and do your own digging in order to see the reasons why for yourself. Question everything. While it's only some of you that are already aware, unfortunately most of the others are simply too terrified and living in fear. So our intention is to bring you hope in the form of some clarity, a little bit of peace of mind, and walk you through this very exciting time of transition from 3D into 5D. I shall cover a few of the differences later in this video. The first good news is that whether we know this or not, we all chose to be here for this time, and we all chose to do our part in order to assist with the awakening. Some of the light workers and star seeds are still sleepy, which is okay because we're here to help you with the process. Whether we wish to accept it or not, the awakening is occurring right now. And the weirdest part is that it's being played out on the political stage right before our eyes all around the world, with the biggest battlefield being the United States, which unfortunately is the last bastion of hope for the rest of the world. If the United States go down, we all do. We've already rolled over and said, what can I do about it? We just have to accept it. Just like that, we've forfeited our freedoms and rights and capitulated to the corruption and evil that has infiltrated us from within. Who would have thought, right? In the States, it's not really about Republican versus Democrat, because the corruption and evil are in both parties. Not wishing to sound religious, but it's way beyond good versus evil. It literally is God versus demonic entities in a fight for humanity, which is a huge hornet's nest that we shall cover in another video. Despite my discomfort with the demonic entities terminology, I use this analogy because of some uncomfortable truths that we shall most likely have to come to terms with before this is over and done with. It's not for the faint of heart. God and the good guys are also known as Patriots, White Hats and Earth Alliance, and their mission is to unite us as one, whereas the evil, who are also known as Cabal, Deep State or Black Hats, and their aim is to divide us into easier to manipulate minorities, such as gender, colour, race, guns, abortion, and the list goes on. We've all seen it on the TV. The short of it being, divided we fall. I shall tell you a little more about that later in this video. Our mission is to help show and translate what is happening around us, how to interpret it, how it relates to your spiritual journey, and then, more importantly, to help you with your inner work and spiritual growth, when you are ready. In a nutshell, the battle between God and Satan is for our vibration. The higher our vibration, the closer that we are to God, Creator, or whoever your divine power might be. Fear, misery, and division is Satan's preferred weapon of choice. We've now got to the point where we can no longer sit on the fence and we have to pick a side. Not making a choice is not a conscious decision to be with God. Our words and actions both have to be in alignment, and that's a choice too. Whether we want it or not, we've all been given the gift of free will, which, in truth, for the most part, can be a double-edged sword. Free will gives us choice, which in itself is a responsibility. Quite often, most of us find ourselves in a situation where we don't want to choose, so we don't. Unfortunately, the universe is not quite so forgiving. It can't be turned off just for our convenience. It's constant, likened to gravity. It constantly responds to our vibration, which is a whole subject in itself, which will be covered in another video. We forget that not making a choice is still a choice, and that we're still going to have to be accountable even for that choice. Herein lies the first distinction between 3D and 5D. 5D can also be interpreted as the ascension, the quickening, the rapture, or the awakening, to name but a few. The universe is going to react to your choice of not making a choice, which in turn forces you into making a different kind of choice. Will you be a victim, or will you stand in your power? The victim mode is when we say, it's not my fault, or it always happens to me, or why do I always get the bad luck, and the likes. We've all said these excuses at some point in our life. Some people take it a step further, and they want pity from it because they get attention. For others, it becomes their story, and without it, who would they be? These are all sure signs that we are stuck in 3D and that we need to start paying more attention to our inner work. Those of us who might take it on the chin and accept the reaction from the universe is a step in the right direction, but still don't guarantee ascension into 5D. For 5D, there's a whole myriad of mindset philosophies and ways of being that need to be taken into account. But acceptance of responsibility for your choices, to not make a choice, is a good start. At our core, Faery Wood is here to assist those who wish to transition from 3D to 5D. We even host a workshop retreat dedicated to giving you the experience of 5D. 5D is not a place that you go to, it's a mindset. It can very crudely be described as heaven on earth, and we shall explain the differences between 3D and 5D in another video. Our Faery Wood videos will be divided into two categories, awakening and spiritual. The awakening is about the downfall of the corruption, mind control, and crimes against humanity that's being played out on the political stage. These are all things which have been designed to manipulate and suppress our vibration. The more that you learn, the less frightened you become. The spiritual category is assistance with your inner work in order to become 5D. It can be in the form of one-on-one or through the various workshops and retreats hosted here at Faery Wood. This is just a short video to get us started, but before I finish, let me give you some good news, just to give you some reassurance and hope. God has already won. The head of the serpent has been removed, and all that's left is to expose and clear out the remaining evil that still lurks in the shadows. It is through all of this exposure we shall awaken to what has been going on and reclaim our spiritual power. For those who are a little more sleepy than others, what is happening will get cranked up to beyond the point of ridiculousness. It'll be their own pain of resistance that'll give them no choice but to question it and to learn from this so that we, as society, don't ever give our power away again. The sleepiest 6% of us will still choose not to believe what's going on, and that's okay, because we're all given the choice of free will. Denial is still a choice, and if that's where they find comfort, that's fine too. Fear, misery, and division are the preferred weapons of choice by evil, and we can only help the people who are prepared to help themselves. By contrast, love, compassion, and unity is our armour. If you're not sure where you are on this scale, let's just take a closer look. These questions are not to tell you what to think, but to help reveal to you your emotions. Your emotions have a huge impact on your vibration. There is no right or wrong answer. It is what it is. These are just a few basic questions for you to look up on the chart to see where you're at. So here we go. If someone does not wear a mask, does it make you angry or resentful? For whatever reason, do you find yourself hating Donald Trump? Does the threat of the pandemic have you living in fear? My, what a tickly cough. Does the constant bombardment of cases and zone restriction on the news make you miserable? Those are just a few questions, but see where your answers fall on the chart. It'll be a very good indication of the amount of inner work that needs to be addressed. The time of 5D is here and waiting for us. There's no duality in 5D, it just is. If you had a good or bad answer or reaction, that is duality. Most likely we shall cover this in another video. Like it or not, we are in a war. Not a conventional war, but one for our soul. The next time that you go to the shops, discreetly look at people's eyes. You can't see their facial expressions, but look how empty, confused, or angry the eyes are. Are they losing the battle for their soul? Recognizing it is a good first step. The tragedy of life isn't death, it's what dies inside of us while we live. Ask yourself this: who am I that God would place me in this time as a light worker or starseed to fight for our vibration and righteousness? Who am I that God would allow me to live in this time where I get to stand up for all that is good? It may make you feel uncomfortable, but where does comfort get you? Yes, you can still make a few people feel good here and there from your comfort zone, but to be chosen to live in this time is an honour, and let's face it, a life of pipe and slippers with feet up in front of the telly is not really much of a life. We've all seen animals in the zoo. How sad is the thought that that beautiful animal is never going to see its natural environment that it was meant to live in. A bird that should be free to fly wherever it wants is stuck in a cramped cage, or a lion that's made to roam the Serengeti and reign in its kingdom. Don't get me wrong, it is special to see these beautiful critters up close. It's just how sad it is for them that they'll never reach the potential that it was made for. For me, I don't want to be a human being in a comfortable little zoo. I want to see who God made me to be. And if that means that I have to get uncomfortable, then so be it. And if that means that I'm not going to reach my dreams the way that I intended, then so be it. But I know that I'm here to serve. Because life isn't all there is. This life is so quick when compared to eternity. I don't want to look back on my life and thank Creator because it was nice and easy. I want to look back on my life and thank God that He gave me the opportunity to be of service, to be pressed and pushed against, so that I can see what He made me to be for His kingdom. How do you want to look back at your life? Humanity is not divided by race, colour, gender or sexual orientation. Humanity is divided into awakened people and the misguided. It is the misguided who divide themselves by race, colour, gender or sexual orientation. Because we're all one. We are each and every one of us God consciousness having a human experience. Victory's not in the future, it is now. Simply by seeing the wonders and the beauty of creation all around us. The ego might make lots of noise and distract us from the still, quiet voice, but Creator just waits for our choice to see it. How many times have you asked the universe to show you a sign? Whether you realise it yet or not, you are the one that you've been waiting for. Fear is a moment-by-moment choice, it's an illusion. History's going to be made, not by those who are governed by fear, but by those who stand in faith and work towards something new. As soon as you choose to see the amazing time that we're in and recognise it for what it is, there's nothing to fear. Seeing the wonders and the beauty is alignment with Creator. Truth is eternal, just like we are. I hope you enjoyed this video. please help support us with a like, share or subscription. You can find us at fairywood.ca. If you have some great ideas that you'd like us to cover for future videos, or would like to join our team as we venture forward into 5D, please drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. See you on the next one, and remember, the sun always comes out after the rain, so make way, 'cause the light must shine.